I like him
Yeah,
very much. He's
and
a cool dude.
I've been looking forward for a while to interview you, but really, who told me about you were your fans, and they started tagging your name on my page on Instagram.
Okay.
And they
They're
said
very nice.
they are. You
They're
have
very
the
nice.
most passionate fans I've ever met.
Yeah, I have to say I'm pretty lucky. They are the best in the world. Yeah, after I've done this series, it's called Gabriels Inferno, and basically the character from that book.
Yeah,
I have to say that I met a lot of new people that are very, very special. The one that I had before, that they just follow me since day one of my career, are the best ever.
yeah,
But I have to say that I'm very lucky
yeah,
because somehow I attract nice people. So
yeah,
I'm blessed for that. I
yeah.
feel blessed.
You definitely are. There's a huge following you have in South America, I've seen.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, South America is a big market. My book is gonna be released there super soon in Brazil, especially. But I have to say that Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, and a lot of countries are, they have the Latin soul, so they're
Yeah,
very passionate, and I love them for this.
yeah. So, you're an actor and a dentist as well.
Yeah, actually, I started as a dentist first. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I started as a dentist first. I basically studied dentistry when I was after high school, and then I basically started to act. I was in modeling when I was like 16, 17, but was not really for me. And then I started to do some acting courses, and I found it very interesting. Somehow, the fact that you can learn a lot by yourself while being
yeah,
someone else, and
yeah,
it was very fascinating. And then I had to be. I wanted to be as much as possible independent from my family. So the fact that I was able to work uh, was very important for me, and I think that I started to work pretty soon, and
get connections going again.
here I am. I continued to study dentistry
Yeah,
while I was working. Gosh, I hate technology. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just I'm not in my place. I don't have Wi-Fi here, so
Oh, okay.
no, it's not the best. Let's
Yeah.
see this maybe, because if there's like a spot where
Mm,
the connection is good, and then there's another one which is very bad.
yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I was saying that yeah, I started and I worked uh, mutually since I was probably 16, and so
Yeah.
here I am.
Is it right? I heard that you worked in England for a little bit as well.
Yeah, I lived in London for a couple of years when I was younger, when I was like 26, 27. One of my agents is from London, in
Yeah.
Hertwood, Tavistock Wood, and yeah, I worked on a couple of things there, especially Walking on Sunshine, which was a good movie, a very nice feel good movie. And I have a lot of friends there, so I love London. I was there the first time when I was 11. I decided to take a ticket by myself, and I said to my parents that I was going somewhere, and then I went to London,
Yeah.
and they were very angry at me. But yeah, I always had a very, I don't know. I love the English culture. It's
Mm,
something that really fascinates me.
yeah. So, was you? That was a film. Was it a musical?
Yeah, it was a musical. Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you want to get more work in, London, in British films and in Hollywood after that?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I would say that I would love to work with British people. They have a very interesting. I mean, I would say that the American movies and the English movies are very different, even though the language is the same. Um, and I kind of love both of them, of course. Um, I would love to do. I mean, if I think about Peaky Blinders or I don't know, there are so many great shows out there from Downton Abbey, or I don't know, just to name a few that are incredible. The writing of the English cinema is the best. But at the same time, I really like the fact that, for example, in America, my probably body is more suitable for different roles. Um, I would say that I would love, for example, to play some action movies, which is something quite difficult in Italy. So, you know,
That's
I def.
interesting. Um, so you would say your aesthetic is perfect for Hollywood, you would say?
Well, I don't know if it's cut for Hollywood, but definitely I would say that I can probably have a more range of characters in America. I'm not talking about Hollywood specifically,
Mm.
but in the American market, rather than, for example, in Italy, where I can basically play the same character over and over again, which is, for example, the prince. I played so many princes in my life. But when it comes, for example, to a drama, we're less used to faces that are, even, for example, the face of Mickey. Mickey is a beautiful guy, tall, super good singer, good actor. Um, but his major success came from a foreign piece, a foreign movie, which was, of course, it's 365, and it was a massive hit on Netflix. So it means that worldwide people decided to follow Mickey and choose him. He gained, I don't know how many million of followers, and before that, it was still Mickey in Italy, for example. But somehow, for people like us, I would say, that are physically similar, tall, kind of sportish body. It's a bit more difficult here in Italy to find a place because we have a different market. We have comedies, or we have a type of drama that it's somehow not really. It doesn't suit, for example, for the
That is,
body that I have.
yeah, that is so interesting because, of course, he has said that to me as well in the interview. Um, and
Michele?
yeah, and
Yeah.
when I compare it with Hollywood, you and him, you guys have that aesthetic for Hollywood. I could easily see you there. You guys fit in so well.
I would say that I hope for it. I would say that Mickey is definitely doing well, very well right now, and I'm very happy for him because he deserves it. Um, I don't know if Hollywood. It's Hollywood is a big name. I would say the American market in general. Hollywood. It's like the Champions League of the cinema. So I would be happy at least to play in the main team, and then maybe one day in the Champions League.
Yeah.
But I want to be, I mean, very realistic. It's very tough to get there. I have an O1, which is basically the visa to work
Mhm.
in America, and my the movie that I'm doing right now, Gabriels Inferno, and the series of Gabriels Inferno and Gabriels basically Rapture, Redemption, blah blah, whatever. All the titles, it is made by an American producer, South African American producer, for the American market, and not just for that one. But yeah, it's definitely a start. I had the chance to work a couple of years ago and last year with other people. I did, for example, Downhill, which was a good movie with Will Ferrell, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, people from Hollywood, but
Yeah.
definitely I won't consider myself an Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
I would love to work with Hollywood people and learn, because if you can work with the best, you can definitely get better. So
Yeah.
it's a never-ending process, and I would say that I like challenges. So for
Yeah.
me, it's good to think that maybe one day I might get there if I'm good
So,
enough. So I'm
what
doing
have you?
everything that I can.
Yeah. So, what have you heard from casting agents in Italy? What have they said to you if you weren't perfect for a certain role?
I'm sorry, say it again.
So what have you heard? What kind of things have casting agents in Italy? What have they said to you if you weren't perfect for a certain role?
Well, I would say I don't know if I got the question right, but most of the time it happens. It happened a couple of things. First of all, I was the perfect one for that role,
Mm,
or not even close to be good physically for that role.
mm,
I'm not, I never was in between, you know? So they said to me many, many times, for example, you are too, you know, royal,
yeah,
which doesn't make any sense to me, but for this role. Or they said you're too tall, you're too you have too much of a blue eyes type, and we don't want that. Or you know, I mean, we can write a book about that,
mm,
but at the end of the day are just experiences, and it's fine, because I would say that um, the best movie of my life has still yet to come.
yeah,
So I'm pretty positive about, and what I know is that I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm perfecting my skills and trying to be very focused on what do I want and where do I come from, and the fact that I want to be a good actor. First of all, I don't want to be a nice face, and to be a
yeah,
good actor, you need to study a lot. The nice face is something that some people address me, and I'm thankful for that. But it's definitely something that I didn't work for it. It's just something that somehow my parents gave me. So there's not much credit to take because of that, because it's just like a lottery.
mm,
It's not something that you need to be too much aware and proud of, in a sense of it's me. Your ego doesn't need to be that big, because it's something that you don't work for it. And I'm very much more into the hard work and dedication rather than the appearance. And this has been probably even a problem in my career in the past, because I refused a lot of things out there that were from my point of view too much focused on the physical aspect. Some of those things that I refused turned out to be a huge success.
mm.
So I was like, I could have done that. But at the end of the day, everybody has his own path and has his own story. And
Are you allowed to name anything that you declined, but it became a success?
uh, well, many things. Many. Let's say in the last couple of years, at least three big hits.
Mm,
Even on Netflix, for example. I mean, but it doesn't matter. It's the past. It doesn't matter. It's just that I didn't feel I was right for that
mm,
thing. So yes, of course, when you see that and they have they might gonna produce a huge success out there, you're gonna be like, you're gonna be thinking, if maybe I misinterpreted something, maybe I could have done something different, maybe I could have choose wisely. But at the end of the day, it's very much about how you feel. It's not math. It's
mm.
about how you feel, and if you don't feel right for that role, you shouldn't do it, because otherwise you're not gonna apply in the right way for that role. And it very much, listen, like, art is not math. It's very much like a lottery,
Mm,
sometimes you read a script that is fantastic, it's perfect, you have the best actors around you, the best production, the best director, and it turns out to be not a good movie. Sometimes you don't have experienced people around you, but it turn out to be a very good movie. You never know. So you can only decide with your heart
yeah.
and your feelings.
Well, the next 365 days is coming out. If they offered you a role in that, would you take it?
um well, I don't think they're gonna do it, first of all. But if they will, I will definitely consider it. Yeah, absolutely. Even though I think that, you know, even though we are somehow similar as body types, but I would say that at the same times we are very different. And I think that Michele, specifically, was so much more better for 365 than in general me. Even if, a couple of people texted me about a character that's called probably Nacho or something like that,
Yeah.
Pablo or Nacho.
Mm,
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see if they will. We'll see. I will consider it, absolutely. Why not? But we'll
yeah.
see.
Yeah. Um, so, with Gabriel's Inferno,
Yeah.
you uh, you were amazing in it. I think, I'll be honest, the best parts are because he's such a complex character. So your acting when you get super angry, like that is brilliant.
uh, yeah. I mean, Gabriel has a very strong character, and is a very proud man, even though is not proud of himself.
Mm,
So it stands for things that give him this full sense of control, which is wrong, of course, and he does it not in a good way. But at the same time, he's a broken spirit, and I have a massive respect for people like him,
mm,
because sometimes people that they don't have the right instruments to express and their feelings and heal themselves.
mm,
And this is something that this society should really work for. We have very wrong role models, and I know that this may sound silly, but the fact that we physicalize a lot rather than concentrate and educate people and kids on considering the others as thinkers and people that are able to feel rather than just a body.
mm,
It's I would say it's the mirror of a disease that we have as a society, because at the end of the day we are all unhappy, all of us. Somehow, even the people that you might think are happy, they're not.
mm,
They're not, because we're very lonely.
mm,
We're very lonely. So, you know, when you see a character, for example, like Gabriel, that of course had his own path, and he had to deal with a lot of also not nice actions that he did in the past. Um, I always feel a very I feel that I have this feeling of compassion towards him, in a sense of, trying to be as open as possible to understand how to help him. And this happened to me in life,
mm,
and it had happened to me while I was working. And it's very important that you do that and you don't judge,
mm.
for example, your character, because of course it would be a big mistake. But
So you had pain in your life.
well, yeah, who doesn't? I do a lot. Yeah, of course. I would say that I work very hard and I try to, achieve something, probably and most probably, like many of us, and to um, you know leave my life in this somehow dream of not dream. I'm trying to live my life having this full sense of security that comes with results. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's because we don't feel secure in the first place.
yeah.
So we always need to, do something else and something more and move here, move there. It's very much, I would say that unfortunately that's what we are. Life is it's like a bicycle. You need to pedal, otherwise you're gonna fall. There's no way you're gonna have an equilibrium if you stand still. So this is the good and the bads of being a human. But
So
yeah,
what
of course.
makes you what makes you happy in life? What are you passionate about?
Well, of course, what makes me happy is what I'm passionate about, because that when my mind starts to stop to think, and when my mind stops to think, I'm definitely happier.
Mhm.
Um, in a sense that, of course, it's like a meditation. If you do something that you like, somehow the time stops and you have this sense of being here and now, that it's so nice and pleasant, and gives you this very gentle feeling of being happy, of having a purpose, of having a reason why to be here on this earth. So it's very important, for example, to teach kids to focus on their passions
Mm.
rather than to focus on what other people are passionate about. You know, find what they like the most, because that's the medicine for the soul. Absolutely. And then, I like many things. I like to build motorcycles. I like to build old cars. I like to write sometimes. I'm reading my second book right now. I like to experiment new things, even, for example, play the guitar, even if I'm not good at it, or try to sing. Anything that challenges you, and anything that requires attention and commitment, I would say, is always interesting and fascinating.
So with being an actor, how did you deal with rejections? Because you obviously seem so positive, and you have had a lot of success. But for young actors who are kind of new to the industry,
Yeah.
how what advice would you give them in dealing with rejection?
Well, I would say that, first of all, rejection is a shit for all of us, because basically it's very much related to your need of being loved, which is something that we're born with. Of course, we then identify that in our job, for example, and in the fact that we want to be respected and loved, in a sense, because we wanted to feel good at something. Again, as I said before, um, to have that feeling of having a reason to be here on this earth, be uh, here and now. But in general, at the same time, um, when you focus on something that you really like, there's a percentage of that really changed, which is basically, for example, um, I wanted to be loved and respected as an actor. Okay, is 80%, for example, of my need, and 20% is my passion for it. But if I can reverse, and if I'm passionate about, then even this percentage will be reversed. So sometimes you do something you're very passionate about, people might not like it, and you might be disappointed, but at the end of the day, you've done something that you really like, and that makes you way less vulnerable
Mm,
to those rejections. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
at the end of the day, you say to yourself, you know what, but I did my best. So yeah, they don't appreciate me enough. I'll do better the next time. But at the end of the day, let's hug myself, because I did my best. And when you do that, you're very much less vulnerable than the opposite. And so I would say that for young actors, they need to face the idea that they will be rejected a lot.
Yeah.
But it's very much about who stands till the end. So if you can deal with the idea of being rejected, you're already one step ahead, you
Yeah.
know, because one day you will be rejected, and if you can just say, okay, it's part of the process, let's stand up again and let's start to work again. It's
Yeah.
a never-ending process, but I mean, apart from a few people that I met in my life that were lucky enough to start it here and stay there, most of the people out there, they've done this. Even for example, I'm working with Tosca Mask, okay?
Mhm.
Tosca, she's a great example of that. She's a mother. She's a CEO of the company. Um, from many points of view, she's a very successful woman, but I'm sure that she had to face a lot of difficulties, like daily difficulties. Even her brother Elon is one of the richest men in the world, but it's not something that he obtained it like this. If you, for example, if you follow the Tesla story,
Mm.
Tesla is a company that was about to fail so many times. So it was very much about, and when, for example, when you have a company like a car company that is going to fail, it's because people are not buying your cars, for example, which means that they're rejecting your work.
Yeah.
But it was brave enough to stay and said to himself, you know what, I do believe myself, I will keep going. And now it's forcing the entire industry to change into electric. Or Tosca, again, she's doing something, I would say, pretty impressive.
Mm.
She's um, uh, she's she's working to give people the best movies adaptations of the books out there, which is something that has never been done before. Because when you see those movies adaptations of a book, you most of the times you're disappointed because
Mm.
you don't see those things that you loved about that book, because it's very personal. And she did something quite remarkable. I would say very remarkable. So it's, you have to deal with rejections and failures. It's part of life.
Yeah. I,
Fuck the, I would say fuck the haters. Fuck the
yeah.
people that just take what it's good to make yourself better, and leave the rest out of the window and keep moving, because
Yeah. I
it's like a
think
marathon.
I think though it's harder for you guys because you guys are Italian actors, and even learning the language, learning
Yeah.
English, that is the first step.
Yeah, it's a big step. It has always been a big step. Yeah, especially I would say it's not very much about the language, it's about the accent. Because
Mm,
if you can learn a script,
mm,
you don't have to go out there and talk publicly about a topic. You need to learn certain words,
mm,
okay? So it's doable. But if you want to become like a good respected actor, for example, you want to play in an English role, in an English piece or English role, you need to have, and you want to play the English character, you need to have the right accent, and that's the most challenging thing, I would
yeah,
say, because it's not something that you can achieve in a minute.
yeah,
At least for myself, I was getting crazy with Gabriel, because all those sounds and diphthongs and the yo, no, and all those oh and things that we don't have in Italian. It was like, oh gosh, I was getting crazy, but it was very challenging, and I'm happy that I did it.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a big thing. Try to imagine the reverse. Try to imagine yourself to interview someone in Italian. it's
yeah.
it's difficult.
It would be incredibly hard. Yeah, it's a big deal if I know a few words in Italian.
I'm telling you, I struggle to talk Italian, so sometimes imagine myself to speak English. It's even worse, but
Yeah. Um,
nobody's perfect, so I hope you guys can forgive me.
um, so, where would you say your passion lies? Because you're still working as a dentist, from what I've seen. You,
Yeah, I'm very much working right. I'm very much working right now into aesthetic medicine specifically.
yeah.
I have a studio with a couple of friends, and they are doing basically the dentistry stuff. I'm very much doing the aesthetic
Mm.
medicine, which is, like fillers and rhinoplastics and
Oh yeah.
stuff like that. Also, it's funny because some people ask me if I have done something on my lips recently, which is quite funny because they keep asking me that since I was 20. But um, I'm a very big fan of boxing, and so I box like 3 times a week, and we spar with people like with helmets, and we actually punch each other. So sometimes I would say that I've broken my nose twice, and recently I think that my upper lip is bigger than it used to be, but it's because it's swollen and it hurts
Mm.
rather than. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I like that. I like the aesthetic medicine very much, and uh, it's it's good to have an option because
Mm.
you never know. Acting is a beautiful work. Is a beautiful it's an incredible passion that I have, but at the same time, it's very unpredictable,
Yeah.
and you never know how the movie's gonna go, and you're good as the last movie you've done. So if the last movie you make is the shit, you're not gonna work anymore. And mine gonna take years. And it's always good to have, like, it's like the Titanic. I don't know. When I was a kid, I've seen this movie Titanic. You remember? And it always fascinates me, this idea that they had about the fact that the ship was unsinkable,
Mm.
and so they decided not to put special little boats in
Mm.
case the ship was sinking, because they thought it was unsinkable. But
Mm.
at the end of the day, it sank, and they didn't have enough, small boats to carry and to help all the passengers. So it's basically the same idea. I like it very much. I love my job, but it's very unpredictable, and so I think I like to have a plan B in case it doesn't work. It will not work. One
Yeah.
day am I gonna stop acting for some reason, and I want to still provide food for my family and myself.
Yeah.
And dentistry or medicine in general is a good job. It's
Yeah.
something that I
Yeah.
like.
So you have a clinic in, is it Rome?
Yeah, Hiram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think you could say your popularity on Instagram helps your aesthetics business as well?
No, at the moment, because I'm not really publishing any of my works. I just did a couple of stories and probably in last, like, 2 weeks ago,
Mm.
but nothing more than that. I would say that it's still I still need to establish myself as an
Mm.
actor, and then one day am I gonna start mixing things up, but right now I would say it would not be a wise move to mix things too much, because otherwise people might not understand what you
Mm.
are. It's a very American thing to be, I'm a lawyer, but also I'm an actor, but
Yeah.
also it's very American, but I'm in Europe, so it doesn't really work here. And so it's better to divide things. But yeah, maybe one day, I don't know, definitely it will. I mean, if we think about the fact that with social medias you can talk directly to people, to your audience,
Yeah.
it will definitely one day can be helpful. But right now I don't want to mix it up
Yeah.
things too much, because it's not
So would you move from Italy to America for
well
your
I well I yeah well actually I moved to LA 2 years ago, uh and I came back last year in February, because I had a couple of weeks off. I wanted to be with my family, with my dog, and then the COVID hit, and
yeah.
so I spent a year here um in Rome. But basically I'm based in LA right now.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to start shooting Gabriel again,
Yeah.
to see Tosca, to see Melanie, to see all the great people that I've
Yeah.
met, and then go back to LA and start
Yeah.
auditioning for other things.
So
Yeah.
I read, and you have a medical condition called fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia.
So
Fibromyalgia.
yeah. So when how do you cope with that and acting? Because acting is very physical.
Uh, I have no idea, in the sense that I tried to deal with it,
Hmm.
and that's it. Fibromyalgia is a medical condition that basically um, uh, creates a lot of pain in your body, physical pain, a lot of pain, and also can create other issues like, for example, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and other stuff. Um, I had to deal with it. Mm, I officially discovered that I had this like 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago, more or less 2 years and a half ago.
Yeah.
But if I think about myself and my life, I would say that I struggled with it since probably 2005, 2006. That's when I started to have this weird feelings about my body,
Hmm.
my hands and my bones. For no reason, they were hurting a lot. Um, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I would say that, you know, um, it's good to talk about it because there are a lot of people out there that have the same problem, and many, many others. So there's nothing really, uh, there's there's not a reason not to talk to. I know that Lady Gaga, for example, has it. She's one of the most famous ones.
Hmm.
Morgan Freeman. They had to they had to turn down movies and concerts because they were not able to perform.
Yeah.
So it is something that you have to deal with, but it's like life. You have to deal with issues, and at the end of the day, it's very much about how you deal with them.
Yeah.
That's what defines you.
Exactly. Do you think when you're doing a role you really love and you're enjoying what you're really passionate about, which is acting, do you feel you almost forget you have a condition, a medical condition?
What do you mean exactly? Sorry, I think I got lost in translation.
Meaning, when you're, let's say you're on a movie and you're really into your character and you're really enjoying it because it's challenging you, do you ever forget, oh, you actually have some pain or you actually have a medical condition?
Well, yeah, in the sense that I use that pain for the character
Hmm.
very much. I try to make I try to transform that into a useful thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes they're less, but but it's the only way that you can deal with it.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about fibromyalgia, which is also, I have to say that recently, I'm in the last year and a half, I'm doing much, much better,
Hmm.
for different reasons. I don't want to be too much specific right now, but I'm somehow doing better, dealing better with it. But yeah, I have to say that it's something that sometimes can really affect your performance,
Yeah.
and it did in the past. It
Hmm.
did definitely in the past. But also because I was not able to probably transform and use it
Hmm.
as a weapon for myself.
Yeah.
It's something that you somehow achieve with experience, and of course with years, and
Yeah.
the aging process. And
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
I would say that, for example, when I was doing Gabriel, it happened that one day specifically I was very much into a lot of pain. And I talked to Melanie. I said to her, listen, I really cannot, like, it's tough for me today. And she was like, don't worry, you're gonna make it. And it's basically the drunk scene when I
Mm,
was moving like a drunken man, in Gabriels Inferno Part 1. And I think it really somehow worked towards the scene, it helped me to perform somehow. But yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah, how you can take, um, your suffering, but use it to your advantage in a way.
Well, I try. You know what? I'm very good at poker facing.
Mm,
So am I gonna be dying, but you won't see it?
mm,
That's something that I really give credit to myself. I'm
yeah.
like very much like perfect. I'm fine in both my
Mm,
clubs, but but normally, yeah, people don't see it. So
yeah.
it's just something that I feel it, and sometimes it's frustrating. It was frustrating in the past. Now it's way better. I
Mm,
do this ice bath basically every day,
yeah.
and they really changed my life. And it's not for everybody because some people cannot get close to cold water because
Mm,
it increased basically the pain. But for myself, it really helped me out a lot.
yeah.
And I'm following whatever. I don't want to be too much
Yeah.
specific on this, but
Um,
I would say
so,
that there are a lot of people out there that can help you. So it's good to always ask for some help if you're
yeah,
struggling.
exactly. So what are you doing for Christmas?
Not much, being with my family, which is a lot, of course, but in the sense of vacations and stuff, we cannot go anywhere. So I'm going to be in Rome spending the Christmas night with my parents, my dog, and the few people that are that can come with us because the the law is basically saying that we can be probably like not more than 6 people or 8 people, something like that. So we'll see. But basically, I want to spend it with the people that I like, the people that I love,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah,
Well,
eating probably.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm sure
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to interview you again many times.